Delays are not denials. A delay in your journey to that vision is not you being denied that vision. It's a divine pause. There were multiple times where I felt like I was being denied my vision of having a baby. It wasn't the case though, you guys. It was just a divine pause because I needed to be this woman that I am now today to have that baby. So trust in those divine pauses. Trust that you are being prepared for so much more than you realize.
Welcome to Next Level You podcast. I'm Stephanie Dingbaum, your host, your biggest cheerleader, and your go-to girlfriend for real, raw, and uplifting conversations about leveling up in life. As a mental health therapist with over a decade of experience and a business coach helping women elevate their lives and businesses, I'm here to guide you through the mindset shifts, holistic practices, and manifestation tools you need to step into your most authentic, next level self. Whether you're here to ignite your personal growth, elevate your professional game, or simply rediscover you, this podcast is your invitation to dream bigger, go after your goals, and unapologetically claim the life you deserve. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive in. It's time to up-level, manifest, and glow. Welcome back to Next Level You podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm so glad you are here. As I'm recording this, it is a Sunday evening, and I am taking advantage of my son being just falling asleep. Quick life update. He's battling a cold. It's his first sickness, so to speak. And so it's been a couple of rough days. And my husband is also feeling under the weather right now. And so it's just been kind of rough at our house lately, but it's all good. We're going to get through this. It's just a season. And you just have to give it time. What I'm talking to you guys all about today is divine timing. This episode was actually inspired from a podcast episode that I listened to recently. I don't know if you've heard of the Thriving Therapreneur podcast. It's hosted by Carly Hill. I have been following Carly Hill since I started my private practice. She has just some really powerful episodes on her podcast, and she puts some really amazing stuff on Instagram as well. I love her podcast because it's speaking directly to me as a therapist and a coach. But this particular podcast episode that I listened to was all about divine timing in business. And she specifically related it to her 42-week pregnancy that she had. And the whole episode, she's really talking about the parallels between birthing a baby and birthing a business. And so literally this entire episode resonated with me, except for the part about birthing a baby. I did not birth a baby, but I adopted a baby, and he's felt like ours from day one. And I can honestly say that journey, my specific journey to getting a baby and my journey of birthing not one, but two businesses, there are so many parallels. And so listening to this podcast, first of all, I just have to do a shout out to Carly Hill. Amazing woman. Give her a follow if you don't already follow her. You don't have to be a therapist to follow her. She just gives she has amazing content in general. But hearing her talk about these parallels really inspired me to want to talk about this topic as well. Ironically enough, the whole topic of divine timing has been a constant nudge that I've been getting lately. It's been a topic that's come up in conversation with some friends, with other business owners lately. So when I saw her episode come up that week, I was like, okay, I must need to talk about this on the podcast because it keeps coming up for me. So I thought, if you are in a season of waiting or a season of wondering or a season of surrendering, then this episode is really going to resonate with you because I'm talking about all of that. Carly really hit home when she articulated what surrendering to a higher timeline can look and feel like. I really practiced that in my own fertility journey. I had to release control. I had to give my control up to God and just trust that He was going to come through for me. And I had to trust that everything was going to come to me in divine timing. And it did. The timing ended up being perfect. So when I say the words divine timing, what I'm meaning is not on my time, but on a higher power's timeline, which actually is the right time. Some people would probably argue that fact, but I'm telling you, everything happens at the exact time when it's meant to. And if you have a hard time wrapping your head around that, it's probably because you need to release some control. But truly, everything happens at the exact perfect time when it's supposed to. I learned through both building my businesses and my fertility journey that things fall in place when you truly learn to surrender. And what I want to debunk is surrendering does not necessarily mean that you're giving up, okay? What it actually means is you're choosing to trust. You're choosing to trust in that higher power, whether it be God, source, universe. You're choosing to put all of your trust in that higher power. You're practicing having faith, something that a lot of people struggle with. But practicing surrendering is just that. It's just having complete and unwavering faith in that higher power. But it does not mean you are giving up. When you choose to let go of control, it also does not mean that you're letting go of your vision. I really struggled with that in the fertility journey. I thought that if I chose to surrender, it meant I was letting go of that vision of being a mom, and I wasn't willing to let go of that. But it actually is not. You're not letting go of that vision, whatever that vision is for you. For me, it was being a mom of multiple kids. It was having a growing family, multiplying my family. And I held on to that vision. I still desired that vision, but I was releasing control of how it was going to get to me. And when I finally released that control, you guys, that is when it came to me. Same thing happened when I met my now husband. When I finally released that control, that is when he walked into my life. And I think that's something we need to practice in business as well. I think when you start a business, it's your baby, right? Like you want it to be perfect, almost to that unhealthy degree though. There is no such thing as perfect. If you can release some of that control and just trust that things are going to fall into place, the money's going to come, systems are going to align, release some of that control, surrender to the outcome of how it's going to happen. That's when things come together. That's when things happen. So when I say divine timing, that's what I all mean. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I explain that because sometimes, this is everyday language for me. I use it all the time. So I just assume that listeners know what I'm talking about. But then when I'm in conversation with certain like friends or family members, and some people don't always understand what I'm saying, and I'm finding it's normal lingo for me, but not for you. So I just want to make sure I'm explaining that so there's no question about what I mean. Okay. So what I found myself doing after listening to Carly Hill's podcast episode is I really was reflecting on these past 2 years of life for me. I grew 2 businesses and I transitioned into motherhood. And what I learned about surrendering and divine timing as I built these 2 businesses was the money came when I released that control. The clients came when I surrendered to how they were going to come to me. And in this rural part of the country that I live in, word of mouth really is the strongest marketing tool you can use. And that's what I've experienced. I did not really need to push to get clients. In the beginning, I thought I needed to. I was going around to the schools. I was introducing myself to school counselors. I was reaching out to anybody I felt I needed to get clients. And when I was doing that, when I was hyper focused on the how, the clients were just like slowly trickling in. But once I stopped trying so hard and just trusted that they were going to come to me, I was doing my daily affirmations and gratitude around it. It was like they flooded in. And before I knew it, I had a full caseload and I couldn't take on any new clients. And I literally think it's because I had to do that mental shift, right? I had to release that control. I had to surrender to how they were going to come to me. And when I did, floodgates just opened. And like I said before, same thing happened in our fertility journey. Augie came to us during a time when I was not hyper focused on it. If anything, I was hyper focused on growing my businesses. And that's when he came to me. And the ironic part about all of this is those seasons where I truly surrendered is also a season where I experienced an identity shift. I truly embraced that CEO identity, that powerhouse identity. And that came when these desires, when these visions came to life. So it's like choosing to surrender, embracing that next level version of you, whoever that is. For me, it was I wanted to show up as the CEO that I knew I was. I wanted to show up as the powerhouse that I knew that I was. So when I finally embraced that identity and started showing up as her, that's when things aligned. And it's all connected. That surrendering, the identity shift, and I can say the same thing in my motherhood journey. It was like I surrendered to the outcome. I surrendered to the how. And that's when we got the call that we had been chosen for adoption. And it was almost like overnight, I started to embrace this identity of being a mom. I think it's easy to talk about this when I have great examples of how surrendering did lead to my outcome coming to me. But I also want to share moments when things did not happen on my timeline, because I know for other women going through the fertility journey, it can be so hard to release that control. It can be so hard to trust when you're focused on there's only 12 cycles in a year. There's only so many times in a year where I can get pregnant. There's only so many options for IVF. I get that timeline really seems like a ticking bomb. But when I released control, even in my cycle, it was the best thing I did for myself. When I stopped tracking, I stopped constantly looking at that app. It was the best gift I could give to myself. And it took us 7 years to get a baby, you guys. And so I'm no stranger to that season of waiting. Okay. I'm no stranger to things not happening on my timeline. But looking back, I can truly say that I'm so grateful for those 7 years. I never thought I would be able to say that, but I am a better mom now because of that wait. I am a better CEO, a better business owner because of that wait. I'm a better wife because of that wait. So when you choose to surrender, specifically in the fertility journey, if you're in the thick of it right now and you're having a hard time grasping that concept of surrendering, I promise you that in the end, you will be so glad that you did. The wait truly is worth it in the long run. And I've talked to other women who have also had long waits, and they can say the same thing. So it's not just me saying this, but the gift of waiting is truly a gift in hindsight. In talking about divine timing, a lot of people, when we tell them our adoption story, when they learn that we found out a month before our baby was born, and they were like, holy cow, that was a really fast turnaround for you. How did you wrap your head around that? And it was like, it wasn't easy. It was a pretty chaotic month, to say the least. But again, I want to shed light on when things happen on an unexpected timeline, it's actually happening how it's meant to. And I can say that now looking back, because even though that was a very hectic month, after having Augie, there have been things that have happened. Like, we found out that the agency that we are adopting through is no longer going to be handling adoptions. So this truly could not have, like, we got him just in the nick of time, because now they're done. They're taking the adoption services off of their roster of services. And so it's just another, like, that's such great validation that everything truly happened in divine timing. And even though it wasn't how I expected to have a child, even though I didn't get to do a gender reveal, I didn't get to have the baby shower before the baby was here, I didn't get to have this fun, like, announcement to our families like I wanted to, it's okay, because everything happened exactly how it was meant to. And throughout that whole month, throughout that whole journey, there was so many signs and synchronicities that truly affirmed that the timing was just perfect. I've talked about those in that previous episode where I shared our adoption story. So if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to it. When we surrender, when we truly release control and trust that everything's going to happen in divine timing, I can guarantee that you will, if you have your eyes open to them, you will see signs and synchronicities pointing you, telling you that you're on the exact right path you're supposed to be on. You just have to have your eyes open to them.
Are you 5'4" or under? If so, listen up. This ad is for you. Did you know nearly half of women in the US are petite? Yet, shopping for stylish clothes that fit perfectly can feel impossible? For years, I struggled with this. Shopping in kids sections, dealing with oversized arms, long pants, and wasted money on alterations. I hated shopping because nothing ever fit just right. Then I found Short Story, a clothing subscription box specifically designed for petite women. Short Story is rewriting the fashion rules for petites, offering clothes tailored for all sizes, shapes, and heights under 5'4". They even design their lines based on feedback from their subscribers, people like you and me. Here's what makes Short Story amazing. Each box is personalized to your measurements and style preferences. No more alterations or guesswork. You choose how often you get a box. You can do monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly. Every box includes 7 items, and I usually keep around 4 to 6 of them because they fit so perfectly. Their styling quiz lets you share your budget, style preferences, and even your Pinterest board for inspiration. Yes, I have literally manifested my Pinterest wardrobe thanks to Short Story. And lastly, after each box, you can give feedback to make your next box even better. So imagine never having to shop in stores again, feeling confident at every event you attend, and knowing your clothes were curated specifically for you. I've been a loyal subscriber for 6 years now, and I promise it's been a game changer. If you're ready to uplevel your style and show up as the best version of yourself, then give Short Story a try today. And then a bonus for my listeners, you can use the referral link in today's show notes to waive the $25 styling fee on your first box. Let Short Story handle the hassle while you show up stylish, confident, and ready to take on the world.
I also want to use this time to talk about how this new season of motherhood that I'm now in has almost been like a rebirth for me. Definitely did not anticipate the growth that I would experience from this. It was like, I know I've said this before, but my values have been solidified. Just in many ways, feel like a different person. I feel like a stronger woman. I feel like as a business owner, I feel more confident. And in regards to my values, it's not like they change because my values really haven't changed. Family's always been one of my top values. Freedom's always been one of my top values. It's just that they've been really solidified since Augie came into our life, since truly becoming a mom and a parent. I am not going to sway on my values. I stand very firm in my values, and I hope that my actions show that. I feel they do. But this new season of being a parent, being a mom, has really demanded me to surrender more. I have had to learn to let go of my timeline. We're on Augie's timeline right now, let's be honest. So I really had to practice more surrendering. I've had to practice more faith. I've had to practice more softness for myself and for him and for my husband and other people too, because people mean well. It's just when you're sleep deprived and you're overwhelmed, like you're more on edge with people. And sometimes you forget that they really do mean well. So this new season, this new rebirth that I've experienced, it's made me a softer person, I feel. And I really think it's helped my faith grow even more, which I can't believe that my faith already feels like it's grown so much through this journey. But I think this whole experience has just strengthened it even more, which is such a beautiful thing to be able to say. But in terms of that identity shift, I'm not the same woman I was before I became a mom. And I don't want to go back to being that woman, to be honest with you. There was parts of her that I was proud of, but there was other parts that I don't know. I feel like there was other parts that maybe were not me showing up authentically as myself, or there were still some people-pleasing shadows popping up, and I'm not allowing that to happen anymore. I'm really trying to address those shadows. I'm really trying to make decisions that truly align with my values as a mom, as an entrepreneur, as a wife, and I have no shame about not being that previous version of me anymore. I'm truly embracing this new version, this new identity. And I always preach to therapy clients, there's a fine line. Some women really take on their identity as a mother almost like too strongly. And then, 18 years from now, when your child leaves the home and you're an empty nester, some women will experience an identity crisis because their identity as a mom was all that they knew. And so what I really am trying to practice is a healthy balance of my identity as a business owner, my identity as a mom, my identity as a wife, and my identity as a therapist. All of the different identities that I carry, I'm trying to practice a healthy balance of all of those. Because similarly to when your child leaves home and you might experience a identity shift, then same thing can happen in your job. If my identity as a therapist is all that I pour into, then when I retire, I'm going to really struggle, and that's not my identity anymore. Like I could experience an identity crisis with that as well. So I really am trying to practice that healthy balance of all of the identities that I carry. But I did want to mention that I am not the same woman that I was before I became a mom. And honestly, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of who I am now. and I don't want to go back to that old version of me anymore. And I think some women need to hear that, because I think sometimes there's guilt when you experience that shift, when you experience growth, when you adopt a new identity in life. There can be guilt into like maybe realizing like, oh, there was parts of myself that I really was not proud of that I showed before. And I don't want to show those parts anymore. But sometimes with identity shifts, you will experience shifts in relationships, and that's where the guilt comes in, I feel. I don't have any guilt. I feel like it's okay that I've changed. It's okay that I'm growing into this new version of myself, but I can understand why some people would carry that guilt. So all of this is just to say that in whatever season of waiting you're in whatever season of surrendering that you are in, I really want to emphasize that the biggest growth often comes after those long periods of preparation or waiting. That has been my experience in every season of my life. The biggest expansions have happened after those long seasons of waiting. And maybe you're waiting for the right relationship to walk into your life. Maybe you're waiting for the right job to fall on your plate. Maybe you're waiting for a positive pregnancy test. Maybe you're waiting for some kind of a breakthrough. And maybe it feels like it's never going to come. But what if, consider this, what if the waiting is preparing you for that next level version of yourself? Consider that question. Journal to that question. And again, the growth that you experience from those waiting seasons, it will equip you for what you are praying for. That has been my experience. All of the growth that I experienced through my 7 years of waiting for a baby made me a better mom. It equipped me for this season. And let me tell you, it's been a little bit of a difficult season because Augie is colicky. And like I said, now he's sick right now. And so it's been difficult. But this is what I prayed for. But I can feel both things. I can be grateful for what I prayed for and also acknowledge that this is a difficult season. But that 7 years of waiting prepared me for this. I'm more patient now because of that. So it's made me a better mom in the long run. I've been trying to end with tips at the end of each of my episodes. To help you gain awareness on this topic, I encourage you to journal on where in your life you are trying to force things versus just letting them flow to you. Because ultimately in a season of surrendering, that's what you need to practice, is letting go of that force and allowing the flow to come in. So if you're on a spectrum, force on one end, flow on the other end, where are you on that spectrum? And journal on that. Gain some awareness on that topic. And ask yourself, where do I feel tension? Where am I being invited to surrender in my life? Is there a specific part of your life where you're struggling to let go and release that control? I really encourage you to journal on that. And you know me, I love my affirmations. So some really good affirmations to practice if you are in a season of waiting is, I trust the timing of my life. What is for me will not pass me. And I surrender control and allow divine timing to guide me. Those are some really freaking powerful affirmations, you guys. And if you want to take things a step further and really like manifest this vision of yours, which I'm all about manifestation. You know that about me. Hello, I'm a mindset manifestation coach. I really encourage you to take the manifestation process a step further beyond the affirmations, is to visualize your future self already living the life that you're waiting for. Visualization has been a part of, well, I've gotten away from it since being on maternity leave. I'm not going to lie. It's sprinkled here and there, but I was doing it daily prior to Augie coming into my life. I really encourage you to incorporate that into your life. It is so freaking powerful. So like I said, visualize that future self already living the life that you're waiting for. It's so freaking powerful. Other tools that you can use is breath work or just meditating in general. Both are really powerful. I've done both prior to Augie coming, and they just really help you to like go within and just reconnect with that inner knowing. And that also helps to strengthen your trust muscle. And then another thing you could do is create a vision board. Creating a vision board to hold the energy of what you're trying to manifest, not like a specific deadline. That's really powerful too. If you want to know about how I manifested Augie, my vision board was a part of that manifestation. Listen to the adoption episode. It's really powerful. Just some final reminders for you guys. If you are in a season of waiting, if you are in a season of surrendering, you are not behind. I understand that feeling, specifically in the fertility journey, of feeling like I was constantly behind everyone else. My husband and I are the last in our friend group to have babies. So I have constantly felt like I'm behind. but you are not. You're actually in perfect timing. And I know that now. But I'm just saying that because I guarantee there's somebody out there listening to this who feels like they are behind, and you are not. You are right where you're meant to be. I promise you that. I know it's hard to wrap your head around, especially if you're in the fertility journey, but I promise you, you are right where you're supposed to be. Another reminder, delays are not denials. A delay in your journey to that vision is not you being denied that vision. It's a divine pause. Oh, that gives me goosebumps just saying that. There were multiple times where I felt like I was being denied my vision of having a baby. It wasn't the case though, you guys. It was just a divine pause because I needed to be this woman that I am now today to have that baby. So trust in those divine pauses. The IVF this current round of IVF didn't pan out for you. It's not a denial. It's a divine pause. Maybe something in your business is not panning out how you're hoping for. It's not a denial. It's a divine pause. Trust that. You are being prepared for so much more than you realize. And I know I sound like a broken record, but I understand. I've been in those tough seasons of waiting. We get tunnel vision when we're in those seasons of waiting, and you can only see through that tunnel, and you forget to take a step back and look at the big picture. Trust divine timing, okay? It is one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself. It's where magic happens. It's where faith blossoms, and it's where miracles meet you. I can promise you all of that because I've lived that. Okay. I really encourage you to reflect on your own relationship with control versus surrender, especially if this episode really hit home for you. That's some of the most powerful work you can do for yourself. As always, if this episode resonated with you or made you think of somebody in your life who could benefit from hearing it, share it with them. Share it on your social media stories. If you do share it, tag me. I really appreciate that. And also you can DM me if you are navigating a season of growth, a season of waiting, a season of surrendering. I am happy to have a conversation with you about that, whether it be waiting for motherhood or waiting for a transition or waiting for something in your business. I want you to feel supported. I'm happy to be that support for you, whether it be through coaching or just mentorship. And don't forget, I do have resources available on my website. If that's something that you think might resonate with you, go check them out. All right, guys, have a great rest of your week. Until next time, I'll talk to you next week.
Real quick before you go, I just want to thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. And congratulations on showing up for you. Every step you take to invest in yourself brings you that much closer to your next level self, and I'm so proud of you. If you loved this episode, share it with someone who could use a little inspiration, or take a screenshot and tag me on social so we can keep spreading the next level you energy. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Let's freaking go!